albino orphan Alba has recovered from her typhoid scare. But as she reunites with her friends, will her impaired vision affect her progress? A celebrity orphan arrives from overseas and gets a red carpet welcome to Nyaru Menteng. And a sick youngster is discovered at forest school, sparking fear of a malaria outbreak. When one student presents with this potentially deadly disease, there's sure to be others. A new day dawns on the island of Borneo. Who knows how today will unfold? At the Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation's Jungle School. At the new baby house, where the youngest orphans now live, everyone seems enthusiastic about the different morning routine. Especially Mochi. But once the doors open, the bravado vanishes. And many of the nursery babies cling to each other for comfort, as they're still getting used to their new home. This morning, Jelapat's missing his usual hug buddy, Telecan, so he's brought his security blanket along. Everyone rides the wheelbarrow buses for another day in the forest. But in the quarantine wing of the new baby house, there's one youngster who's staying behind. Josh arrived here last night. This little 18-month-old orphan was rescued from a mining village and is suffering from a suspected broken wrist. The injury looks like a spear wound and probably happened when his mother was attacked. In some remote villages, wild orangutans are a source of meat. Too small to be eaten, a village family fell in love with him. And Josh's life was spared. Today, Josh has an appointment with the medics for a proper examination of his injuries, which will determine when he can be accepted into the jungle school system. Kilometers away, at the main Nyaru Menteng compound, the older classes are already filing into the forest for the day's lessons. Hanin holds up her classmates for a bathroom break, orangutan style. Chinta deals with the roadblock with her signature move. The Group 2 students pile onto their platform as babysitter Letta constructs one of the famous fruit kebabs the team uses to encourage the students to forage in the trees. class clown Valentino has a love-hate relationship with this lesson. Over the past few months, trying to grab moving fruit has frustrated him enormously. He makes a token effort today. But Valentino has no patience for this. And so he goes straight to the source. Despite his antics, Valentino has a lot of love to give. And he treats babysitter Letta like he would have his real mother. Letta decides to turn Val's leaping skill into a confidence and coordination game and encourages him to jump again. Letta needs to go check on the other students. But Valentino won't be left behind. In an isolated corner of the compound, a tarpaulin keeps the world's only albino orangutan shaded from the sunlight. Alba has been ill with typhoid fever and was removed from her socialization enclosure so she wouldn't infect her friends. But today, Alba is better. And the vets want to reunite Alba with her friends as soon as possible. Over at her previous home, Alba's ex-rival Pujon and his crew have taken up where they left off in their games. Pujon and Alba started off on the wrong foot. Although they did appear to make friends before Alba got sick. Whether or not Alba's return will upset the dynamic again is hard to predict. "10 kilometers upriver, there's been an uneasy peace on pre-release Bangamat Island since the arrival of several new orangutans over the last few days. On the female-dominated side of the island, breakfast is eagerly anticipated. And the more confident orangutans stake out positions closer to where the food will arrive. As the specialist technici deliver the food, they'll watch the orangutans closely. Breakfast is always a good indicator of the ever-changing power plays. Bananas are in short supply today, and the biggest, bossiest girls snatch them up. Surprisingly, shy newbie Kessie is on the platform with them. She makes off with an armful of Mexican turnips. This is a huge step forward for Kessie. She's even eating right next to the platform, which shows confidence. Bully Bungsu wants some turnips, but bold Kessie tells her where to go. Kessie is quite happy to share turnips with her friend Ponti, however. These two went through jungle school together and have just reunited after spending a year apart on separate pre-release islands. The Technisi put eyes on all the females who arrived on Bangamat Island within the last week. Kessie, Ruti, Saab, and Ayu. Ping makes sure she's noticed. Even Shy Valent makes an appearance. It was a week ago when two males who'd been kept in the pre-release facility for years were released at this platform on Bangamat Island. Jerry went berserk and attacked his transfer cage. And poor Valent had a traumatic release in the middle of the confusion. Today, Valent seems settled, but Jerry hasn't been sighted since. And the Technisi need to know that he's safe. In Forest School Group 1, the morning milk bucket call rings out. And the class gathers round. Malika is in the front row for her share. But one pupil is absent. Malika's new best friend, 4-year-old Mumut, is usually at the center of any activity. But he seems unwell. Busy with the other kids, the babysitters haven't noticed Mumut's missing. He summons the strength to go to them. Mumut's taken straight to the clinic. An armpit reading is usually 1 degree less than the actual temperature. So at 38.5 degrees, Mumut's running a fever. He's too weak to object as Shri and Greg cool him down. Then it's off to the isolation room for observation. The vets suspect Mumut has malaria, a mosquito-borne disease that can be deadly for both humans and orangutans. The mosquito transmits a parasite that infects red blood cells, leading to anemia or even coma. Young orangutans are most at risk, and it's impossible for the vets to prevent outbreaks, especially in the wet season, while malarial mosquitoes are numerous. Mumut needs fluids urgently. He's hooked up to an intravenous drip, which he doesn't like. A painkiller will take the edge off Mumut's discomfort. all the babysitters can do now is keep the little boy calm and quiet. But usually, if one orangutan presents with malaria, they're not alone. Outside the clinic, someone's cooped up in the waiting room cage. It's Beni. And he's bored. Yesterday, veterinarian Argus discovered Beni has a potential gingivitis infection. This gum disease is the result of poor dental hygiene and too much sugary fruit. While Beni waits for his appointment with the dentist, he finds ways to kill time. He'll have to wait a bit longer, though, while the vets are busy elsewhere. So Beni washes up. Most of the vets are over at the Nyaru Menteng holding facility, where they're running a clinic for pre-release candidates. But brand new arrival Josh jumps the queue for his health examination. He appears remarkably calm, given everything he's endured, including the loss of his mother. But it's not surprising he gets upset when he's abandoned on the scales. A light sedative will help Josh through the process. His wounded wrist is tender, but the vets can feel that the underlying bone is already healing. And an X-ray confirms there's no need for a cast at this late stage. They take Josh's fingerprints for their database. Just like humans, every orangutan has a unique set of fingerprints, which evolved to give primates extra grip while climbing in trees. As Josh is officially enrolled in orangutan jungle school, the rescue team departs on yet another orphan pickup. But this baby is arriving from a very different situation. At Pujon's socialization enclosure, he knows something's up. He's already been separated from his friends for bad behavior once before, when Alba first arrived. So he's right to be wary. The vet team wants to reunite Alba with her friends, without the potential for conflict. And that means Pujon has to move. Pujon's off to a temporary home and will soon be introduced to new friends, while Alba gets to move back in. With her albino-related health issues, Alba is classified as possibly unreleasable, which means she can never fully return to the wild. Instead, her future could lie on a secure island, socializing with her specially selected friends, Kikan, Radmala, and Unyu. So the stakes for this reunion are high. She's a healthy weight, despite her bout of typhoid. And a model patient, which makes the vet team very happy. Now for their reunion. It's only been a few days, but the dynamic can change fast. Unyu and Radmala rush up to greet Alba. They're quite aggressive, but she ignores them. The Technici relieve the awkwardness with the gang's daily enrichment. Puzzle drums. Everyone grabs a drum and gets to work. The fruit inside needs to be prized out by dexterous fingers. Alba's really flummoxed. How is anyone meant to get the treats? Alba goes in for a close look at Radmala's technique. But she still can't work it out. It's possible the albino orangutan's impaired vision is to blame. She doesn't even notice when her treat falls out. This is the first time plucky little Alba's experienced any disadvantage from being different. She challenges Unyu to a play fight. Something she's good at. And for now, it seems the reunion is a success. For everyone but Pujon. In Forest School Group 1, today's workshop is nest building. So far, the students have learned the fundamentals on the safety of the ground. Today, the 2 to 3-year-olds will learn how to construct nests in the branches. Meryl's up first. She watches as Letta lays the framework. But doesn't seem terribly impressed. She takes a more laid-back approach. Letta tries to keep Meryl engaged. But she exits the lesson, taking half the nest with her. Perhaps 3-year-old Fatia will be a better student. She piles the leaves up, layer upon layer, just as she saw her babysitter doing. Flattening it out is the fun part. Being able to eat your bedding is one advantage of being an orangutan. Pillow fight, anyone? Finally, she decides her nest is complete. Fatia has made great strides today, while Meryl is falling behind. "200 kilometers away at the airport, a special delivery arrives direct from Jakarta. The Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation rescue team is already waiting to receive the package. But they resist opening it until they're away from the chaos of the airport. In a more secluded location, they open the crate. and the youngster immediately latches on to babysitter May. His name is Tamer. Six months earlier in Kuwait, police pulled over a known criminal's car and discovered narcotics and, to their surprise, a baby orangutan. This was Tamer, and he was being kept as a pet, which is considered a sign of affluence in the Middle East. The illegal wildlife pet trade is a ruthless industry. A baby orangutan can fetch from $50 in the domestic market to $50,000 in the international black market. The Boss Foundation staff have few details on Tamer's time in captivity and can only guess what abuse the 2-year-old has endured. Since his rescue, Tamer has been kept in isolation in Jakarta, where his DNA was tested. Bornean orangutans are divided into 3 separate subspecies. And Tamer's results revealed his parents were from right here in central Kalimantan. Tamer has traveled a long way to come back where he belongs. But this is just the start of his jungle school journey. After a morning of waiting, it's finally Beni's turn to see the vets to get his teeth checked. He might not be so happy if he has to have rotten teeth pulled out. Vet Vivi has a particularly strong bond with Beni. But for all his charm, it's safer for everyone that he's under sedation for this examination. These are Beni's baby teeth, caked in brown plaque. He'll lose these by the time he's 5, but gum disease could damage his adult teeth. Normally, chewing leaves and bark helps to keep orangutan teeth polished and clean. But it's no secret that Beni prefers fruit over greens and fibre. Luckily, a scale and clean is all that's needed today. Beni survived his visit to the dentist with all teeth accounted for. Now it's time for new arrival Josh to pay his first visit to the quarantine classroom. His babysitter Ratu tries to get him to cuddle with his teddy bear. But this infant wants human comfort. He takes a snack and has a look around. And suddenly, curiosity takes over. Not even a broken wrist can stop this orphan from climbing his first tree here. babysitter Ratu doesn't want him venturing too far just yet, though. Josh is in a class of his own for now. But with Tamer on the way from the airport, he'll soon have a potential friend. At the main compound, the isolation room is filling up fast. Mumat's still hooked up to his drip as he's treated for malaria. And Shiro from Group 5 has also been brought in. She's so unwell, she doesn't even look up as Kajora from Group 2 is escorted in. Kajora clearly doesn't like being inside this building. She's not showing the usual symptoms of malaria, such as lethargy, fever, and loss of appetite. That's because Kajora has worms. They were detected in a routine poop inspection, and she needs to stay contained so she doesn't spread her parasites through the forest. Meanwhile, Shiro has all of the symptoms of malaria, but oddly, her initial tests came back negative. Could Shiro have something else that's masquerading as malaria? The vets have a mystery, while the babysitter has an escape artist. It was almost the perfect escape. It's possible that Kajora's aversion to the isolation room relates back to her trauma as an infant. Video shot by her rescuers shows how she was kept as a pet, chained up inside an unventilated shed. No wonder she's making a break for freedom. She tries again. And again. Locking the door is the only solution. On pre-release Bangamat Island, new male Jerry hasn't been seen for a week. Orangutans generally don't swim, but larger pre-release orangutans have been known to wade across the river when the water level drops too low. An escapee could quickly come into dangerous conflict with villagers. So the Technisi have mounted a search party to make sure he's still on the island. Bangamat is almost 50 hectares, and the orangutans here roam the entire island, despite most having a favorite feeding platform. So finding him is not easy. Not Jerry. Narrow waterways take them further and further from the feeding platforms. This time, it is Jerry. It's likely that after the stress of his release, Jerry simply prefers solitude. And he's foraging for himself, which is a positive sign for his future. Mission accomplished. On the approach to Nyaru Menteng, Tamer perks up, which is just as well, because at the entrance to the main compound, There's a rock star's welcome for him. His story has made national headlines in Indonesia. Tamer loves the attention and plays to the crowd. But this little globetrotter can't pose for his admirers all day. It's time to meet the babysitters. Who make a huge fuss of him. They give him the royal treatment. Turning the platform into a giant nest. He must be hungry after the trip. Turns out he's a fussy eater. And maybe a bit of a brat. Tamer shows a babysitter what he thinks of bananas. What were they feeding him in Kuwait? This baby needs to learn that at jungle school, he can't have everything his own way. Inside the clinic, Beni's slowly waking up from his dental procedure. Vet Vivi has a soft spot for her oversized patient. So she takes him outside for a hug, which helps comfort him after his confusing ordeal. Beni's dental hygiene should improve now that he's on a diet. No bananas, watered-down milk, and more greens. Hopefully, he can be persuaded to stick with it. It's the last lesson at forest school for the day. And some older students have come to visit their friends in Group 2. Valentino, Utris and Madara join their older idol, Chinta, on an adventure through the ferns. And there's a surprise waiting for them. There's something not right. Ponti reassures the youngsters. But Chinta has a suspicion as to what this might be. Bravely, she takes the lead. Four-year-old Otan arrives late to the Fear Fest. And he thinks this sack looks good. Just in time, Teknisi Mulyono comes to the rescue and beats his special rubber teaching aid to death. The Group 2 kids have never had snake awareness class before, and today they responded perfectly. In primates, recognition of snakes is instinctive. But fear of snakes is learned. Which is why Mulyono tours this lesson around the forest school groups. It's a lesson they won't forget. It's the final stop on the river tour. And Vet Marios joins the technisi on Bangamat Island. This side always floods when the river rises. And the platform is currently dominated by hungry males. The team gets a visual straight away on Lau and Pims, the new arrivals who needed to be checked off. Then, Marios spies something unusual. It's Ponti, who's found her way over from the other feeding platform. She must be extra hungry as she comes down for a snack. Marios greets both Ponti and Pims orangutan style. And goes in for a closer look.
Tapi biasa teh, dia mau kelihatan. Tapi biasa teh, kalau medak dia mau menurut sebelumnya mana kan?
Ponti is pregnant. What Marios spied as Ponti was climbing was her swollen vulva. This happens almost as soon as an orangutan conceives. All the females on Bangamat Island have hormonal contraceptive implants. As they are young, still learning, and babies are best born in the wild. But it seems Ponti's has failed, which is not unheard of. Ponti will be allowed to remain on the island to give birth, just as she would in the wild. With a baby on the way, Marios makes her a special treat. A milkshake will provide some extra calcium, but it attracts all the big guys. These almost adult males can hurl cages. But for a moment, they revert back to being jungle school orphans, lining up for their milk. And Marios knows just how to handle them. Ponti has to share her treat with the whole class before she can have any. Without an ultrasound, there's no way the medics can tell when the baby is due. So from now on, they'll be keeping a sharp eye on Ponti. In the quarantine wing of the new baby house, Josh might now have the friend he needs. Because spoiled Tamer has joined him. But Tamer has better things to do than make friends with another orangutan. It's going to take time for this odd couple to figure out whether they can be friends. At the clinic, Kajura and Mumut's conditions have stabilized, so they've been moved to the outdoor waiting room for some air. In the isolation ward, baby Napri from nursery school also has malaria. He's running a very high fever, and so gets a cool down. Shiro's diagnosis has come through. Dengue fever. Worse than malaria and potentially lethal on its own. But she's also picked up amoebic dysentery, which causes extreme diarrhea. Shiro's too sick to eat or drink. So she's hooked up to an IV drip for rehydration and to deliver life-saving antibiotics. It's stressful at Nyaru Menteng when the orphans get sick. Only time will tell whether this little female can pull through. Outside, it's super hot and humid. So before bed, the pool is open. Everyone wants to chill out. But one student is more flamboyant than her friends. It's Chinta. Of course. Wrong way, Chinta. Seems she's working on a new signature move. A delivery arrives at the front gate. It's Nyaru Menteng's newest orphan. Whatever's in this box, it clearly isn't an orangutan. But what is it?
Hey Love Nature fans, be sure to like and subscribe to catch all our wild animal stories. Get closer to nature right here on YouTube.